Welcome back to LMS Portal. I'm Dr. Kavita presenting for BA Optional English 4th semester, section Poetry, session 3. The topic of this session is the poem Where the Night is, written by Saint Kabir Das and translated by Rabindranath Tagore. To aptly quote for the moment is the highest education is that which does not merely gives us information but makes our life in harmony with all existence, said by Rabindranath Tagore. Coming to the author, Kabir Das. Why do we celebrate Kabir Das Jayanti every year? This would have been my opening question if I would have been in the classroom. Certainly, I would have received a few answers from my dear students. But unfortunately, on this platform, if I pose a question, then I'm the one to answer. Yes, Kabir Das is remembered as a supreme being for his prodigious spirituality, who was born in a Muslim family and who had been a great and diligent devotee to a Hindu saint called Ramanatha. Perhaps Kabir Das was the first person on this Indian soil to intricate the communal bondage between the Muslims and the Hindus to be proud about. Despite he was equally loved by many disciples, irrespective of any religion, during the Bhakti movement, which would have been a very tough time to receive such kind of a name and fame, and so he is remembered forever, and he lives with everyone in everybody's heart even today. And so we celebrate Kabir Das Jayanti every year. Kabir Das had many followers for his music excellency. His style, the Sufi, had created a history in the music world. Now, let us know about the translator Rabindranath Tagore. Much of an introduction may seem to be an exaggeration because Rabindranath Tagore is a world renowned personality. Yet, to brief out, Rabindranath Tagore, the great Bengali poet, had an inclination towards multi-propensity of talents. Apart from his writings, he was a song composer, a great playwright, an essayist, and a great artist. He endured new variations by bringing literature from classical mode to the ordinary style. He rendered in his writings the Indian culture and tradition and was a great influencer taking Indian literature to the West. In 1913, he became the first non-European to receive the Nobel Prize of Indian Literature. I have placed a few great paintings of Rabindranath Tagore to have a look. Getting into the poem Where the Night Is, the theme of the poem lays on the layers of perceptions. Let me read the first stanza of the poem now. Where is the night? When the sun is shining? If it is night, then the sun withdraws its light. Where knowledge is, can ignorance endure? So the first stanza is filled with symbolic questions. Here, the night and the darkness, which symbolize the ignorance, the light and the sunlight, which symbolize the knowledge. It is very simple to understand that if our mind is filled with darkness, then the light of knowledge certainly withdraws from us. He endorses that knowledge can never be seized by ignorance. So, if we are knowledgeable, then there is no space for ignorance at all. Getting into the interpretations, knowledge and ignorance, both the terms are a kind of cognitive elements which is very much essential to understand the conflicting conceptions of perceptions. These two elements are conspicuous in the whole Indian tradition that sprang right from the Vedas. Already in the Rig Veda, there seems to be comprised some speculative hymns and were essentially an interpretation of rituals by means of myths that we follow even today by our rituals and customs. Here, in a special sense of perception, the poet feels to resolute that the most expressive of experience is the reality. So he tries to say that reality is the truth, and truth is to get into the perceptions of reality. So let us see what he says in the second stanza. Reading the text now. If there be ignorance, then knowledge must die. If there be lust, how can love be there? Where there is love, there is no lust. Getting to the explanation. Knowledge rests on the fundamental divisions of experience, and reality is the actual existence of truth. And only experience shall access to the truth through knowledge. Here, Kabir Das brilliantly relates love and lust, where he says these two elements confine the truth of perceptions. According to Tagore, Kabir Das' poems are a kind of mystical that contemplates a communion with a supersensuous reality, which becomes an apprehension to find the perfect fulfillment or meaning. Again, getting into the interpretations. Kabir poems has the metaphysical categories, certainly. There is the tendency to an exclusively anthropomorphic devotion, which results from an unrestricted cult of divine personality, which is an accepted cause, especially under the influence of Lord Krishna and extravagance believed in the Indian tradition. According to the Indian tradition, Lord Krishna is highly knowledgeable and he knows the value of love. So there, Kabir Das tries to tell us that a knowledgeable person knows the value of love. An ignorant person cannot know the meaning of love, and that is nothing but lust. And again, he is trying to infuse knowledge to love and ignorance to lust. So his poems contribute to the infinite, simple, and totality. This symbolism may seem an excessive dramatization, yet the mystic tends instinctively to represent his spiritual institutions to the surface consciousness. So let us see what are the implications of this two stanzas what we read so far. Kabir talks about the ocean of love, the spiritual world, the world of consciousness, and the physical universe. We as souls are caught up with the material world, and we are trying to find the salvation of our birth and death. It is a constant struggle that we try to find the truth, and this truth is laid upon the perceptions, how we receive through the knowledge, the reality, the truth, and the perception. The second stanza speaks about love and lust. Such elements flow in his poetry, which is often written with a missionary intention. He tries to bring out the truth and reality of what has to be really adopted in life. Hence, the artistic expressions has a dual nature with a keen intention of divinity as well as driving us to a kind of realization. Further, he takes us to know more about life and realization, which will be followed in the next session.